Hi guys, we're here.
It happens,
Hello.
our first
Episode
guest
11.
appearance.
I know.
Episode
Welcome to
11.
Sip Happens. It's a special day today because we
We are officially on
have
fingers and toes, so that's a big thing.
we're
11.
yeah, going into 11 and we have our first special guest. We have Liz Baker Plosser on today. And I'm just excited to have you. And I'm kind of leading this intro because when I was thinking of people that I wanted to chat with who kind of fit this whole idea of this sip happens mode, which is, this kind of messy middle between like motherhood, midlife, like martinis, happy hour, what's going on. You were one of the first people I thought of because you have been going through such an amazing, I think, just career transformation. And also, I've just always loved your energy and everything that you bring to this world. So, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm going to give a quick, off the top of my head intro, and then I would love for you just to share more about you in your own words. But Liz is like a longtime health and fitness editor, influencer, if I can say that, which I think is a really great, kind of a great helping women everywhere. And she recently launched Best Case Scenario, which is one of the very few Substacks I pay for and subscribe to. And she's coming up on her 6-month anniversary of her first Substack, which is awesome. And so
It's huge.
I'll just take it from here. Liz, people want to hear from you, not me.
And I do. I
Well,
mean, you're new to me. Tell us about you. Who are you, Liz?
Stephanie. I have much love for your show, and I'm super proud of you all for just jumping into the deep end. And
Thank you.
honored to be guest number one. Yeah, I think you said it, and I am sort of like taking a breath in and trying to savor the moment is that you didn't even say my most recent real job. I mean, I have a real job, but which was most recently, I was the editor in chief of Women's Health, which was a role I held for 7 years. Um, I've been a health journalist since my early 20s. I've worked at some big brands like Self. We never overlapped there, Stephanie, but I heard your name often, and I think we were connected through mutual friends and teammates. I worked at Cosmo. I did a stint at Time Out Chicago where I did a lot of freelancing for a bunch of big health brands. I was SVP of content at Well and Good. I went over to the brand side for a hot second and worked on digital content and strategy at SoulCycle. So I've kind of been all over the place, but women's health is definitely that was the biggest piece of my career. I oversaw the brand across digital, social, commerce, print, memberships. Media grows new arms every year, every month. So I'm 6 months out from that. I stepped away and moved on as of January 1st, 2025. I'm really proud of my tenure there and everything that I did with my teammates at the brand, but I had been feeling for a little while like I learned what I could and made the impact I could, and it was time to take my skills and go build new things. But it's still kind of weird, honestly, like untangling myself from that role. And I find when I go to events and I'm out and about in the world, still like struggling, like how do I introduce myself?
Yeah,
How long do you say I'm Liz? I'm the former editor in
I
chief of
know.
Women's Health. So thank you for actually not saying that as you teed me up. Because I
No,
think
yeah.
time, it's like, as I said, it'll always be at the top of my resume. It was such a huge part of my life. But yeah, I'm cheering for that brand forever, but on to new things.
Yeah,
That's
I
something
get
we've
that. Like,
talked about is separating your identity, your personal identity from your job. And that's so hard to do, especially when you're in a role for such a long period of time where it truly becomes who you are and defines you. And that's how people knew you for such a long period of your life. But I think what's so interesting, not that I stalked you, but I did some research before jumping into this. And I think it's interesting that this isn't your first pivot. Before you even got into media, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were in banking, which going from the world of finance to the media world is also a very big pivot. And then to go from media to like, I'm going to go out on my own and see what that means without actually having a plan is a really big pivot. How do you find the courage to make those pivots?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so thanks for digging through the
Totally,
cobwebs.
absolutely.
I love that. Um, Yeah, I will forever be grateful that I was an investment banking analyst. It is so not me and what I'm passionate about, but I am so glad I did it because I learned so much. And there are not many journalists who can make as good of a spreadsheet as I can, thanks to all those all-nighters, crunching
Hmm.
numbers in Excel and creating decks. But no, I've always loved writing and been really into health, fitness, and nutrition. I come from a wonderful family where, you go to school, you work really hard, and then you get a stable job and try to make as much money as possible. And work isn't supposed to be fun. It's supposed to pay the bills, and you show up and you do the thing. And so it honestly had not occurred to me when I was in college and afterward that you could like make a career making magazines. I
Hmm.
thought you were
Well,
just,
in all fairness to people who aren't familiar, I know the three of us here are familiar, but that isn't a career that typically makes a lot of money and pays all the
it's true.
bills. It is fun and it's very challenging and creative, but media is a tough place to really, you know, pack in some savings.
It's true, but I think I also, this sounds wild, but I never considered that like there are real humans that are like showing up to an office and
Yeah.
making this.
Yeah.
So I'd always loved magazines and spent all of my allowance money on them. And anyway, uh, investment banking, those banks and consulting firms descended on my college campus way back in the day when I was that
Hmm.
age. And that was like my ticket to go to New York City with my friends when I was offered a job, even though I was an English major. Um, and I'm really glad that I so viscerally didn't connect with that job because it forced me at a very young age to take inventory of like, okay, what am I going to do with my life? Because it's definitely not this. And I didn't have like the internships or any of the stuff that you're supposed to get into that world. So it was not easy. But I worked hard and did a lot of networking, and many stars aligned. And I got the opportunity to be an editorial assistant in the fitness department at Self Magazine, which was like
Amazing.
literally a dream job.
I didn't realize that. So that was your first step and foray into magazine world was Self at Conde.
Yeah, that was my very first job. Um, and it was like a giant pay cut, which doesn't mean much when you're that age, but I was paying my own rent and, for food and all the things. So
Which
it
in
was a
Manhattan
meaningful.
is a lot. So well done.
Yes. Thank you.
Also, it's like in the magazine world, I remember at Self, because again, like Liz and I both worked at Self, different eras. But I made $1 at Self, but what I lacked in
Yeah.
money, I made up for in just unbelievable access. Like that access was worth its weight in currency in terms of access to either events or fitness gyms or boutique classes. And I mean, the gear is real. I got triathlon bikes via Self. I know, it sounds kind of
I
wild,
got a
but
pair
that's
of
how the
skis
world
and
works.
boots that I still use to this day.
Yeah,
That's
I'm loyal to
amazing.
Specialized because they were my first kind of cycling and tri and road bike experience. But so again, back at that moment in time when you are an editor, yeah, it makes sense. Feels good.
Yeah. It was no, I was quite terrified, and it was a dramatic pay cut, but and I was terrified because I was like, what if I don't like it? What if it's like not what I hope for? But it was. And Stephanie, you'll remember this, but Self was quite an anomaly because yes, you were doing a lot of grunt work as an assistant, like, you know, processing contracts, and if your boss wanted coffee, you were running around to do that, but you also got to sit at the table at big meetings and throw your ideas out there, and if you raised your hand and said, I want to write that story, I want to write that feature, they would let you freaking do it, which was,
Amazing.
some brands that could take years before you were allowed to do that. So
So who was
um,
the editor when you were there? Was it Lucy Danziger?
yes, Lucy, and she's the one who hired me. And I have 3 kids, and my daughter's name is Lucy. If that tells you anything about what
Wow.
a yes, like
Wow.
huge, huge thing and person she was for me. What a mentor, and I'll never forget that she took a chance on this like little investment banking girl.
So funny you say that. I had the exact same type of experience? I mean, because I came into Self as the first social media editor, coming from an agency world where I was, digital and social. We were like the ugly stepchildren, put them in the closet. And, Lucy was prolific in that. She saw how important social and expanding the audience was, that she created that role and took a bit of a gamble on a non-traditional editorial person who came from more of a brand strategy agency and, kind of brought me in. So anyway, Self, it was a big part of my, our shared
It's amazing.
career, but like I have so much love for like women in sport. And I'm sure that laid the foundation for you in terms of getting, just continuing your love of athletics, and because you played soccer too. So
Yes, I played soccer. Soccer was my big sport, but also tennis and basketball. But yeah, I think also in sorry, I'm kind of diverting this to Steph, not you, Stephanie, but I'm sure you have job experiences like this too. It was just such a great training ground, and like so many solid, smart, awesome humans came from Self. And my even 2 decades later, my life, like the fact that we're doing this podcast today,
I mean, yeah,
really
that's
special
friends
place.
are from there.
Totally.
Yeah, it's
Thanks,
amazing how that
Lucy.
happens. It's
Yes.
funny because I even remember
Lucy,
Stephanie mentioning
definitely.
her name all the time. Like as someone who wasn't part of the Self family and community, like I know that name. I also am on the
But
PR side, but
Stephanie, she knows, the entire media world because Steph is a
yeah,
publicist. And so
yeah.
we actually met because she used to pitch me. And so
Hmm.
not necessarily itself, but I was a wine and spirits
Pre-Self.
editor. And so
Yeah.
she would pitch me all of her wine and spirits clients. And so she was very involved in the whole, New
I'm on
York
the other
landscape.
side.
Yeah.
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 But I say the same thing. I was in the city for 13 years, 14 years, and there's no way I could have afforded the lifestyle and the life that I had in the city if I wasn't getting free food and drink from my clients as a hospitality publicist. There's so many things where you don't get paid what you should be getting paid in the market that you're in the job that you're in, but you have to figure out how to kind of work the system and have take advantage of the bonus offerings and the supplemental ways to kind of cover the bills. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Late
for
nights.
myself, I'm just also because I'm like a stan of best case scenario. Like I would love, can we talk about that for a minute?
Yes,
I was like
please.
changing gears, but because I opened up today's post and I didn't realize that tomorrow is your 6-month anniversary of starting and writing your Substack. Just talk to us about that process, what that's been like. I know you've had like
Well, also
4
getting back to writing, because as an editor in chief, you're not doing the writing anymore. And I heard you just say earlier how much you loved writing, and that's why you got into the media side. But you don't write anymore when you're editor in chief. You're not doing that same
Yeah,
thing that you loved.
well said. It's so ironic, but as in many career trajectories, the higher you go, the less of the things you do that brought you to it in the first place, which in my case was writing. I mean, as editor in chief, of course, I was brainstorming, I was meddling and tinkering and cover lines and all that, but it's very different than drafting and outlining and poring over every little word, which I tried to do as much as I could while I was there. But, you're managing, you've got your brain cells aren't technically supposed to be used for that. So, um, yeah, right after leaving, I feel like I'm a journalism trope at this point because so many people who come from traditional media then like jump ship either to start a Substack or that becomes part of their next chapter. And I didn't leave because I was desperate to launch my own Substack. I wanted to try all sorts of different things. But I realized I have a lot to say and I want to practice writing again. I want to do this thing that's lit me up, and I didn't really know what it would become or what that meant. So I sort of did what you guys are doing, which is okay, just start. And I'm so glad I was like not prepared, I think if I had tried to answer every question before pressing publish on the first one, I'd probably still be thinking about launching it rather than,
The number of times that Stephanie said to me, progress, not perfection. Like, let's just do it. It does
yes,
not need to be perfect. Let's just put it
yeah.
out there. I was like, all right, let's go. Pull the trigger. Let's go.
And then it's so cool because you learn as you go and you see what resonates with people and you find your sea legs in your zone. And so it's evolved. It's always had health, fitness, nutrition, emotional and mental health at its center because like I said, that's what I'm passionate about. But within 6 weeks, I ramped up from 1 post a week to 2 posts a week. I realized early on, I started, I think the first one by dropping a few links to like interesting stories I'd seen in the wellness world. I every week for that first month, the list was getting longer and longer. There was just so much I wanted to share. The irony of it is that people have asked me this, like, oh, how much time does that take? And where do you find all those things? And it's actually like no different than how I used to consume stories and content and keep an eye on what brands and influencers and people are doing. It's just that now I have a place to put it, write it down and share it because I was doing a lot of that like link sharing in Slack with my teammates in
Mhm.
women's health, kind of in a like FYI. And then, we might have a back and forth or bring it to a meeting of like, is there an angle for women's health? Is there something we could add to the story or not? And a lot of, if you read my best case scenario, a lot of it is like quite insidery and it's not for the women's health audience, so it wouldn't work. And it's so fun to be able to like put it somewhere and share it and then have people respond. And there's
Oh,
like
I love it though, because it does feel like inside baseball, which I love. Like I can get kind of, I'm sorry, but like kind of generic updates
yeah,
anywhere, but like I like them because I know it's niche and specific. And I think that's why I love, again, Substack. I think your writing, why voices are so important is because it's your curated, filtered lens.
yeah. And it's so fun also to be able to truly unlock my own voice. Like we were saying a few minutes ago about how your identity is often so tied up in your work. I mean, I like to think and believe that women's health, we didn't put every writer through that like meat grinder to make them all come out sounding the exact same. Truly, I believe that. But you do have to have consistency in the brand. And this is like new and different to be like, how do I want to say this? And even to kind of like push the boundaries a little more. I'm still careful and very thoughtful because words matter, but I'm no longer afraid that I'm going to like break the brand or get the brand canceled. If I do that, it's just me that goes down
Yeah,
now.
you're the brand.
Yeah.
You're the brand. That's amazing. And I also think it's just so interesting in general that the media landscape has turned towards Substack so much. And it is not just kind of small growing platform. It is a place where individual voices really matter. You are an individual voice that has thousands of people subscribed and listening to you twice a week to the information that you're putting out. And that has value. And so from a PR standpoint, it's so interesting to try and tap into, okay, instead of pitching women's health, maybe there's more value in pitching Liz Plosser and figuring out a way to get her individually to, include us in her Substack or, so many other writers who have Substacks. It's a really, really interesting, again, pivot. You are just all over the pivots here. It's just the way the industry has completely pivoted to Substack is so interesting to see.
Could not agree more. We could literally geek out about this for hours.
So
And
cool.
so I should also be clear. I love doing my Substack. My second post every week is like a deep dive, almost like a feature on one very specific niche topic, whether it's nutrition or training related, or um, I I have one coming out later this week that I wish it was already out so we could talk about it, but you'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, can't wait.
I'm pushing some boundaries. But yeah, I look at the metrics and much like editors, there's a sweet spot between what is your audience responding to, what are the highest performing ones, but also you don't want to be completely beholden to that. You want to, be the thought leader and one step ahead. And so trying to find that mix, I find like so delightful and fun. But what I can see from the metrics is that people are clicking links down to the very last one. And sometimes these are like 10 or 12-minute long reads. So
Yeah.
I agree with you, Stephanie. I think this is a very special place where, much like a podcast, your audience comes for like the host's perspective and deep thoughts. And so honestly, after working in media and watching the rise of AI and the Google and Meta algorithm changes, it's so heartening to be in a space where the audience wants to be there and they're engaged to the bitter end.
So two things that so first of all, you got me hooked on all things Keion. So I'm a total Keion amino acid and creatine adopter, which you can talk about. But then also when you talk about like the links, like yes, of course, coming from your point of view, but what's also like, again, I'm one of those people who's like scrolling down because like I know that you're gonna link to like the best like Left on Friday bathing
Yeah.
suits that I know I'm gonna like as well because it's like you're gonna have the same type
Liz
of
did
like
the work for you. You don't have to comb the internet looking for these things. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's been curated specifically for you and the thousands of people who are like, we trust you. Tell us what we should be clicking.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like go like rucking. Like I'm so like I'm thrilled that you're, working with, the whole GoRuck team because I remember used to put barbells in a backpack and just like walk my dog and I'm like this looks ridiculous and the weight's not distributed
You were like such
properly.
an OG rucker. That's awesome.
And I just love, so tell me more about what's going on with all of your other advisory, creative directing.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, it's interesting how all these various things I'm doing, they kind of like have begun to overlap and inform one another because like you said, Stephanie, as somebody in the PR space, and you too, other
I know it's
Stephanie,
probably so weird.
It's tough. We're sorry.
PA, I know. At any rate, so many brands are interested in Substack and podcasting, of course, as like emerging tools to reach new customers. So I spend a lot of time thinking about that. But my Substack, it does make some money because I turned on paid subscriptions. I couldn't believe it when the first person like signed up to pay to receive my Substack. So I've been playing with gating some of them. I gate one a week now. But still, it's not enough to live on. Again, I have 3 kids and I live in Brooklyn, you know. Um, and so what really is the most meaningful part of my day to day and week to week is consulting for different brands. And they're all brands in the health, fitness, and nutrition space. They're all brands I'm so lucky that I like deeply and passionately believe in. I'm so fortunate because I've been able to choose teams and people who I think are really smart and kind and fun to work with. So Keion, the nutrition company, whose creatine and essential amino acid supplements I've been taking for years. I'm an advisor to them. I'm working with GoRuck, which is an awesome rucking brand based in Jacksonville, and I've carried a GoRuck backpack for more than 10 years is another one. I've worked with Alloy Women's Health, which is a telemedicine platform, and I've got some other clients I'm talking to now. So it's like a lot. You guys know this when you have a lot of different teams you report to. That's a lot of different Slacks to be in and email addresses to have. But I've learned so much. And like, that was the big reason when I left WH. I was like, I want to go like learn and take what I've learned and help other people. And I have been blown away by how much I've learned in this short amount of time. Like, you learn a lot as an editor, you learn a lot about consumer behavior and editorial behavior, but then to apply that in completely different spheres, it's so fun. So I'm really, really lucky.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
You mentioned you have
So
3 kids. I have a quick question. So it personally is a big life change to go from being an editor in chief to going out on your own. How did that, if you are okay sharing, I don't know if you are comfortable getting into personal life stuff, but how did that impact your family life? Were your kids excited about the change for you? Was it a little kind of unsettling for everyone to get used to this new change? Suddenly mom's around all the time, more than we expected. What does that look like for your family?
No, I'm super happy to talk about it. They absolutely love it. um, I mean, as you guys know, or anybody who works from home knows, you're still, of course, working. So it's not like I'm just hanging out with them all day long, particularly in the summer when they're around more. I'm often in this exact spot, doing work Zooms and on my computer. But I can take my son, George, to soccer practice twice a week and pick him up. I can, show up at the school field trip, which I've literally not done since my kids who are now 14, I have boy girl twins, my older ones were in like elementary school or nursery school. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they've like said it out of the blue, like how much they like having mommy around. And, I was just thinking this today. I was like, I mean, of course, with the exception of that strange time during the pandemic, but for like 24 years, I have been like reporting to the man in corporate America and
Yeah.
opening a big office building door. And I was thinking this morning, I still sometimes feel like I'm playing hooky or something, even though, of course, I'm working. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when is that going to go away that I'm like, feel
It
like this
doesn't.
is normal?
It doesn't. I can tell because I started
Okay.
my company 14 years ago, so I've been my own boss for 14 years, and there are still days where I'm like, how am I pulling this off? This is pretty amazing that I
Right.
can just leave work for a week and go on vacation with my family, and I don't have to tell anyone. Like I can just do that. Obviously, I'm telling my clients and my team, but the feeling doesn't go because
Exactly.
you realize how lucky you are because it's so rare to be in that position to be able to do that, and it's really cool.
It is really cool. And yeah, exactly. I'm not like checking, is this an okay week with anybody?
Yeah,
But I think kind of I don't want to like over glorify it because as we all know, it comes with challenges too, which is
absolutely.
if I'm taking my son to soccer practice, then that project, that deliverable that's due next, whatever, Monday, Tuesday morning, I will be doing it on the weekend. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lines are way blurrier than they even were
Yeah.
before between work and personal. Um, so I don't know. I'm kind of like learning and figuring it out every day.
So
Yeah,
you're
it's
too
true.
old. The twins are going to
High
high
school.
school, so they'll be freshmen next year. That was other things I wanted to ask. And like life in Brooklyn, 3 kids. You've never been happier being in your neighborhood, loving Brook. Like, how's it going?
Well,
Because I
and
see
from a
pictures like
motherhood
going to
standpoint,
soccer
we're
practice.
at three very different chapters of motherhood. We've got going into high school. Stephanie, Max is going into first grade, second grade.
First grade. First grade.
That's
Nice,
crazy.
cutie.
And then I don't have anyone in
That is
kindergarten yet, and I'm pregnant with my third. So three very different chapters of motherhood going on right here. So different.
That is awesome, and I need to hear more about how you're feeling about baby number 3 on the way. From the 3 kids club, it's pretty fun.
I can't wait. I from the twins club, I have so many questions because I'm shocked. My husband and I, my mother-in-law was a twin and I was supposed to be a twin. So we have been, and all of our babies are IVF. So every time we transfer, we're like, please only be one, please only be one. Cause we're just expecting at least some embryos are twins in there. But, it's been absolutely amazing. Our kids are wonderful. We're on the 2-year plan. So we have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and then brewing number 3. And we can't wait. We can't wait. I'm so
That's
excited.
awesome.
Yeah, it's not ever
That's
something I imagined. I grew up in the South, so never imagined I'd be 40 and pregnant with my third kid. I thought I'd have, all of my kids grown by the time I was 40. You know what? Again, life, you just kind of roll with what happens and you go with the plan that's laid out and make it work. It feels great. We can't wait.
yeah,
We're really excited.
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
Well,
you.
to your question, Stephanie, yes, we're super, super duper happy in Brooklyn. Like you were saying, Stephanie, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I would be making my life in Brooklyn and have, these like raising these city kids. Um, but we love their schools. My husband, Matt, also, he works in the city. So, it all works for us. And we're really lucky because my in-laws have a home in Colorado. So we get to go there every summer. My kids are
So
at
nice.
sleepaway camp there right now. Yeah. Um, I do dream of, as you know, Steph, having like a Catskills,
What
Hudson
up?
Valley, like Packard, that if I'm being honest, of course I love the beach too, but I'm such a mountains hiking girl. So, you know, maybe someday, if best case scenario really takes off, we'll see.
That is the best case
And you've
scenario.
been
That is the
in
best
the
case.
Brooklyn area the whole time, right? With your kids. They were born in Brooklyn?
So, I moved to New York City right after college. I was here for 5 years, and then Matt, my husband, and I, we met in college. We moved to Chicago while he was getting his PhD, and that's where Charlie and Lucy, my twins, were born. They're Chicago babies, and then we're like unicorns who came back to New York City, well, Brooklyn this time when they were 1 year old. So, and then George was born here. But as far
It's
as they know,
amazing.
they're, yeah,
That's what I
my
always
kiddos.
said. I could never imagine pushing a stroller through the city. So we didn't have kids until we left Manhattan and moved to New Jersey. And that is such a different world to me, pushing, because in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, you are, and Brooklyn less so, but it is like elbows, bags tight. You are just protect yourself in your bubble, walking around, an everyday commuter, just getting to and from work and wherever you're going to meet friends. It is a hustle and a bustle. And to me, my life as a mom has been slow and push the stroller and just stroll around. And I could never envision that happening in Brooklyn or Manhattan. And I think it's so amazing.
Brooklyn was
There's so
like
many
the
people who
best
do.
place. But I
You
had Max.
you you did such a great job in Brooklyn.
Yeah, but like, so I mean, I think about having a newborn, and I feel like having that young age, like, I could never imagine being where we are right now, like in the country, kind of like isolated. Like, there's no like walking down
So
my
funny.
country road in a buggy, like a bugaboo. It's like I made that up as bugaboo, is that even a brand?
That
Um,
sounds like a thing, yeah.
but I like
It's a
love Brooklyn.
famous stroller brand, if I
It really
Yeah.
remember.
is. I had a Duna. I loved the Dunas because you could put them in the cabs. But I loved having Max, at least for that first year in Brooklyn, because it felt so easy. You're walking down the street, and like that was my event for the day. Walking down the street, getting a coffee, sitting in a park, like nursing if I needed to. And up here, I've had some friends who are have newborns. They've actually gone back to the city just purely for that convenience of either your doctor down the street or the CVS ordering
Yeah.
seamless. Like none of that exists where we are now. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So different.
Pluses and minuses
Absolutely.
wherever you wind up. But
But Stephanie
yeah.
found out that you were pregnant a few days early from your Oura ring. I was telling Liz
I
that.
did, yeah. Big fan. And I just switched it
That's
to this
so
hand.
cool.
And 18 weeks, I woke up and got a notification from my ring that was like, just a heads up, you're 18 weeks today and your fingers might start swelling. You should switch it to another finger. I was like, thank you so much. 2 weeks behind. I already had to do that, but I appreciate the warning on the fat fingers. They are here. But yeah, 2 days before. So again, all of our kids are IVF. So we knew we were hoping to be pregnant. We were anticipating it. And I'd been testing for a few days before going in to get the official blood work done. All negative tests. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'm still hopeful. I know how this goes. And woke up one morning and my ring was like, whoa, alert. Your body's doing weird stuff. You should rest. And so I literally texted Stephanie and I was like, I took a negative test this morning, but my ring also said something's up. So either I'm pregnant, getting sick, or something else is going on. And then 2 days later, finally got a positive pregnancy test and positive blood work to confirm it. So big fan of these rings.
What an incredible story. Yeah, I've
It's
used
so cool.
Oura before, and I particularly loved it for the sleep tracking. It was so easy because I don't really like I wear an Apple Watch. I've tried them all, but I don't love wearing it to bed, so I'm kind of missing that insight. I remember when my husband Matt, I got him an Oura ring for his birthday or Father's Day one year. And during the pandemic, it predicted that he was sick, like he knew he had COVID for the first time because of whatever.
Mhm.
This is, years ago, so I know that it's gone through many iterations, but there was feedback from the ring suggesting that. It's so wild what these devices and wearables
They're
can pick up.
so smart. And then they get to know you personally and they sync up with your body. It's so helpful.
Like I'm like sometimes I wonder like am I too tuned into data? Like how like and like I know you're obsessed with Apple Watch, so I want to know like so what do you like track or care about or what's noise and what are real parameters we should look at?
Yeah, Steph, I have that tendency too. I can go to a dark place with data. I have to be really careful that I don't obsess. And to be honest, that's why I stopped wearing the Oura ring, because there were days I would wake up and feel good, and then when I would look at my sleep data and be like, "Oh,
You
no,
second
I
guess
was on my
yourself. Yeah.
and I would like let it change my mood and demeanor, so then I started being like, okay, I'm not going to look at it till like 10 a.m. I'm going to decide how I feel first, which I think for people like us is the move. Um, I mean, as smart as they are, I don't care about like calorie burn in my workout. I like to lift weights. I don't really believe that it's even getting me the right number. I don't live and die by that stuff at all. If anything, honestly, with my watch, I'm like using it to find my phone, which I'm constantly misplacing, to set timers.
All the time.
to reply to texts. It was pretty awesome. I was on a solo hike by myself, and I used it for different checkpoints and made sure that it was tracking me so my husband knew where I was. So there's like some cool features like that, but it's almost like it untethers me from my phone, and I like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, okay,
See,
I've
that's
got
why I
everything
got the ring, because I thought the watch, it felt like it was just my phone on a leash. I still felt like I would want to put my phone down and get away from my phone, but I still had access to my phone. And so I didn't, and I know there's so many ways you can turn notifications off and things like that, but I was like, this isn't working for me. It's still, I know I still have access to the thing I'm trying to get space from. And I switched to the ring, and it's been so nice. But I understand the same thing where I'll wake up and I'll be like, wow, I feel great. And then you look and it's like, you were up for 3 hours. And you're like, well, nope, I guess I slept horribly. And that changes your entire mood for the day. I get that.
Yeah. Steph, do you wear any? I'm also a fan of Whoop, and I'm loving all the research studies.
I literally only wear Oura ring. I have like a Garmin, like I wear my Garmin watch when I'm
My
running.
dad wears. He's been a lifelong
It's like
Garmin guy.
so easy, and it's like I do good with like less is more. I think if I would have gotten on the Apple Watch train early, I probably would have just been committed to it, and I just never have. But they're great. Craig wants one, and actually, yeah, I never had a Whoop because I think there's just too many things. Like
I'm not familiar with the Whoop. What is the Whoop?
It's another wearable device. It doesn't have a screen like the Garmin or the Apple Watch or like a Samsung or Fitbit. But I found when I've tested it, it doesn't get in the way, and I love to swing kettlebells, so that's nice. I found it to be the most accurate as far as I can tell in terms if you're somebody who really, really cares about their workout data and like what effort you're exerting, maybe calorie burn, heart rate, all that stuff. It was really good. It fits so seamlessly on your wrist.
You then put it on only for workouts, or do you wear it all day?
I mean, you're supposed to wear it all day because it's
And
supposed
do you
to.
like double wrist it? So you have your Apple Watch.
No, so I don't wear a Whoop regularly right now. I'm just saying I have. Yeah, and I have gone through that where I've had on the Oura,
All the devices.
the Apple Watch, and the Whoop. You guys, I've tried it all. Every workout app, every wearable. But Whoop basically it tells you I'm gonna get this wrong, a recovery score. It basically tells you like when to push more or pull back based on how much effort you've exerted, how well you're sleeping, what your heart rate variability is. It takes a ton of factors into account. I think it's all really fascinating. I've also tried a continuous glucose monitor. I'm waiting for
I have one
Whoop.
of those. I'm so curious to try that.
Yeah.
The Stilo.
Yeah, I did the Levels one that was actually launched by Casey Means. Um, that was really illuminating for me to see my blood glucose spikes based on what I ate, stress levels, workouts, and I would say, no question, I got too obsessed with the data, and I needed to take it off.
I'm so interested. Like, so what? I mean, if you don't mind, like, what were the food? Like, what was spiking? Like, what did you notice? Like, spiked for you?
Like anything.
Like eating though. Like,
Basically, anytime you eat, it spikes.
yeah.
Like if you have something even with natural sugar content in it, like an apple, that's going to make it spike. So,
That's what my sister
I mean,
was saying. She wore one and she said anytime I ate fruit, it just, it was so illuminating because you're like, that's the good stuff. I'm supposed to eat fruit.
Yeah.
But like, why do you need to wear something that tells you that your blood sugar spikes when you eat fruit? It's like, okay.
I mean,
what do you do with that?
What ends up happening, or at least I'll speak from my experience, is I mean, I made my life so unfun because I didn't want to see the spike. So like I eat quite healthy. I prioritize protein, all the things, but I also like enjoy French fries and dipping them in Heinz ketchup. And guess what? Heinz ketchup has a ton of sugar in it. So you look at your data and you're like, man. And I'm like, I guess I'm not having fries because I don't want to see that on my dashboard. I don't think it's much of a way to live. For me personally, I found it very illuminating. I learned a lot. It's lessons I'll continue to take throughout my life, but I would also just like to live my life, and I don't want to be connected to a CGM forever. But where I was going with this is I'm excited to see if, Apple Watch and these other devices eventually have that type of
Yeah.
CGM capability, like somehow with the device, or like what if they could measure our hormone levels for people going through IVF or navigating infertility or just wanting to prevent pregnancy in this day and age, in this wild world we live in. Like there's so much that can happen in this space, which is really cool.
I did get an alert from the Ring app asking if I wanted to connect with the Stilo data. And I didn't even tell it I haven't even opened the packaging yet. But so they are syncing up at least with the different programs to collect as much data to really get to know your body as well. But Stephanie, I can say that my sister, the way she used it was, because I haven't tried it yet, but just really seeing how much, 5 gummy bears versus a glass of wine impacts her at night. Like if she's picking a different treat at the end of the night, what's that going to look like and how does that impact her body differently? But I completely agree, Liz. I think there's a big part of it where you're like, you can overthink it and start depriving yourself and sucking joy out of your life when you really just wanted to get to know your body better. And I feel similarly just in general about my body. I'm not someone who really, jumps on a scale or weighs myself or calculates how many calories I'm burning or what I'm consuming. It's very much, do I wake up feeling like I have a lot of energy, or am I super lethargic because I ate an entire thing of Magnolia Bakery banana pudding last night? Not a hypothetical. It happened. It was so good.
So
and I felt
good.
fine because my body needed it. And so I'm listening to my body. But it's very much just, data and analytics are so interesting, but they can definitely start to bog you down and really get into your own head and kind of just defeat the purpose of what you were trying to achieve in the first place.
Yeah, I think you it's kind of a know thyself situation. Like I'm positive there are people out there who could wear a CGM and just take it for what it's worth and move forward, and so it's like kind of where do you fall on that spectrum. I don't know, I'm like a very goal oriented, perhaps competitive slightly, like even with my own body metrics. So I know and have learned I have to be careful with what I'm looking at.
Totally. So what else is on tap for you this summer?
Oh my goodness, this is my favorite time of year because all 3 of my kiddos go to Sleepaway camp in Colorado.
So
It's a
nice.
beautiful camp outside of Durango in Southwest Colorado. It's like a traditional cabins camp experience, but then they do these big backpacking trips into the mountains and they like summit 14,000-foot peaks and stuff. It's
So cool.
so good for them as
Oh
little
my gosh.
Brooklyn bunnies who are overly connected to devices and video games and whatnot. So they just get like a true nature experience and really push themselves. And the cool thing is that I can work from anywhere. So I'll be out there for about 2.5 weeks when I drop off my youngest later this week, living that Colorado dream where I hope to retire someday way down the road. I don't know. New York City school goes so late. It feels like summer just began, and then like half the country is already like prepping for back to school, and
When else did New York public schools go back, what, after Labor Day or before?
yeah, they don't end the school year till almost the 4th of July. Like that's really when summer begins. I know it's really weird.
That late. Yeah, we're private, but still I still feel like after Labor Day is like feels like the right timing. I feel like anything before Labor Day just feels it's summer still for me.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in the Midwest, and I feel like we were back to school by mid-August already. But yeah, what a world.
We have a lake house in West. So your happy place is Colorado for the summer, and my happy place is Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So we have a lake house up in Wisconsin, and there's nothing better than pontoon boats and some country music and Johnsonville brat and just like living the lake life for a little bit. So that's my my end of summer Midwest plans.
That sounds fantastic.
That definitely just lives on a lake year round. So she's always
I do.
living the
we bought our
dream.
second
Yeah,
house
you're always
first.
living there. Your lake dream there.
We work backwards, so it's lovely. Cannot complain, but we enjoy our lake summers. We enjoy the lake all year round. It's the best. It is the best. All right, final question. You are a
Oh, and
wellness expert. You are
Okay, final question. Go.
Oh, Okay. I'm curious myself because I feel like wellness means so many things nowadays. Wellness, supplements, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I fix this? And I'm very much a believer that everybody is different, and what's working for Liz might not work for Stephanie Miller, might not work for me. But if there's one thing that let's go to the data and the analytics. One thing that you see in your Substack that people are so curious about, that they're always clicking links about this, or they're always really excited to read when you write about this. What is the wellness thing that people are really focused on right now that you think is really important?
I am shocked at how high performing my posts are whenever I write about nutrition. So the one time on any platform I've ever gone viral, in my world viral, was when I did a Substack all about creatine. So it was a deeply reported piece, quoting experts and studies, the latest research, frequently asked questions I get. That took off. That went far and wide on Substack, and I continue to get people landing on it every day. It has thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, like just really. It was a little bit lightning in a bottle, probably. Like I pushed publish at the exact right time. There's so much interest in creatine. But I did another one about essential amino acids, which I think Steph takes now because of me, which we can have a whole other podcast on. But essentially, essential amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and people are so interested in protein and activating protein synthesis and EAAs. There's actually more research on them than even creatine. I don't understand why people aren't talking about it as much as creatine, but we'll see where we are if we talk again in a year. At any rate, that one did quite well too. Anytime I talk about food, snacks, I'm not really a recipe person. I'm
What
like
you're
the sous
putting in your
chef in my
body
household,
and
so
why
I
it
don't
matters.
aspire. Yeah, it's more, I'm more interested in, like supplements and protein content. And I mean, people click on all sorts of posts, and I've been really, again, just pleasantly surprised at how captivated they seem to be on all these topics. But I just know now if I write about something nutrition related, it's going to crush. So yeah, that's what I've learned.
Especially the creative. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, that's been the biggest change that I've made in my, I do a lot. I've tested a lot of different types of supplements, and I'm very keen to not, overdo it. And so I have placebo effects. I want to understand actually what's working for me. But I started creatine in maybe March or April of this year. It took my body about 4 months to really kind of like adjust to it. I definitely felt a little at an adjustment period, and I've taken it every day since, and now I'm just cruising. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. And yeah, I'm the same as sort of, as much as I can geek out about all topics, health, fitness, nutrition, I'm actually like pretty boring with this stuff. Like sleep, prioritize protein, talk about your shit in therapy, connect with your friends, like drink plenty of water, go to the gym regularly, try to lift heavier weights. Like none of it is magic bullet, like, oh, look at my like 17 item long supplement stack. It's pretty basic stuff, which sometimes nobody wants to hear. They want the like secret formula and ingredient, which is,
Everyone wants the shortcut, and it's not a shortcut. It's just, make
yeah,
smart choices.
I think like in this world, and you all work in this space with media and branding and strategy, like so much of what takes off on any platform, and this is true of Substack and podcasting, but certainly social media, is like the more polarizing, or like, I have the miracle to tell you about that. Those are the people who blow up and get views and gain following. And I guess that's like ultimately the point of best case scenario. It's almost like an experiment with myself, is like, not that I don't have a voice and can't be like sassy, but like I'm not there for the polarizing, I'm going to say something crazy just to get clicks and likes. Like I'm going to tell it to you like it is. So I'm, again, pleasantly surprised that so far that's working, even though sometimes it's kind of boring.
Well, I
I
love
think
it.
it's refreshing for people. I think people need that. So, and that's a great place for us to wrap it up. If you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe to Best Case Scenario. You are in for some very boring but helpful news about wellness and mental health. Nothing splashy, but worth your while.
Definitely a must open. All right. Well, it was awesome talking to you, and thank you.
Thank you
And
so much. Such a pleasure.
Thank you
Yeah, I
so
feel like
much.
we scratched lots of topics and didn't get deep into so many. There's like so many things that I want to now know more about, but I love it. It was great.
Well, I would come back anytime. Thank you for having me. That was really fun.
thank you, sir. Ma'am. What? Ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.